everybody, welcome to the Game Plan. I'm Lindsay.
I'm Rico.
And today we're going to be breaking topic a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that what you call it?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about movies. Because we thought, why not?
Culturally adjacent?
Yeah. Entertaining.
Yeah.
So we're just doing a bunch of different categories and what we think goes best with that category.
Yeah. We tried to be very... Okay, so let's outline some of the... This is going to be a series of videos. So there's going to be many of these. What we decided to do was no movie can be on anything twice, right? So even if there was, say, a specific category that a movie might spread into two, and it's technically the best for two, you can only choose it for one, and then a second, like the runner-up, would have to take that spot. So kind of give more variety in the movies, because a lot of these can overlap, because we tried to be very specific to get specific types of movies rather than just like comedy. Well, geez, there's too many comedies, right? So so that's kind of the criteria here.
Okay, so we have a lot of movies and they're specific topics.
Yeah. Now, having said that, I'm not much of a it's weird. I have seen a fair amount of movies. Would you say?
You like them?
I do like movies. I like very specific movies. I'm a very harsh critic, I think, in general. Games and movies, everything. But I don't like new movies. I don't like to go to movie theaters. Movies tend to be those things that I fall into when there's nothing else to do.
We don't like make it a point to go and see a movie.
Yeah.
First of all, it's very expensive to even just go see a movie. Yeah. And second of all, it just seems like kind of a waste to go to a movie.
I feel like, if I can buy it for the price of basically one ticket nowadays at a later time, and I watch it in the comfort of my own home. So
yeah, we just don't see these movies as soon as they come out. So
some of the more recent ones you might be like, oh, there's a better version of that.
But we haven't seen it yet. We're going to try and explain them with not a lot of spoilers, but some of the older ones, you should have seen it by now.
Yeah, I'm not even going to give the caveat of spoiler, because if I've seen it...
That's true. You should have
seen it.
And if you haven't by now, sorry.
Yeah.
So we'll say the movie, and if you don't want spoilers, just skip ahead a little bit.
Yeah, I'll put links in the description of each category. I won't spoil but you can then at least jump ahead maybe.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
So.
Okay.
All right. So do you want to start?
No, you start.
Do you want me to start? All right. So and we should mention these categories aren't in particular order. We tried to group them in groups of
similar topics.
Yeah, similar-ish, but not even that. Yeah. So the first one is going to be the raunchy comedy.
Yes.
And so I have to. That's actually I'm already kind of cheating. Now I'm not cheating. So I wanted to mention the first one that entered my mind was Your Highness.
Yeah. Okay.
And I love that movie for how interesting of a theme and crossing it with that level of raunchy. I've never seen anything like it. And the delivery that those actors put into it, I think nailed it. So I was like, yeah, this is it. And then I came across, during the research, the actual winner. But before I do that, I wanted to mention Superbad. And the reason I want to mention Superbad is it's a great raunchy comedy, but it's, I think, even a little more significant to me than that, because these kids behave exactly as I used to behave and all my friends behaved in school.
Oh.
And we have a new friend. You may hear her or see her. You won't see her.
She jumped down, sorry. She startled me when she jumped up.
So if you see a new kitty come through, we've got 2 new kitties.
Yes.
Anyway, so what I was saying is these kids behaved exactly as I did as a child.
And you're very nostalgic for that.
I am, but that's not the point. The point is what me and my friends have turned into. We're very respectable adults. We have, great careers. We have turned into the idealistic people that I think parents would be proud of. And we started like that. And it's like every kid starts like that. Don't put so much weight on what children do.
Yeah.
Because they're so influenced by the kids around them. They're learning what this world's all about, where they fit in it. They're learning all that stuff. And so I see these what is that kid, the Make America Great Again kid, who's he was 18 years old and he was disrespectful to some guy.
Yeah.
Scenarios like that, I'm like, he's just a kid. Despite how you feel one way or another, you have to remember these are just children.
And they're just feeding off of things around them.
Yeah.
And they haven't come into their own yet. And I mean, It happens to all of us. Yeah. So, yeah.
So there's my huge tangent and I won't be doing this again. This was it just so happened, I swear, this was the one that I was like...
2 honorable mentions, apparently.
Bad Santa.
I knew it.
The winner. Oh my God. The one-liners in this movie are fantastic. Again, it's one of those... They pulled it so far out of left field and in just the right way, and they had... So they did consult with the Coens on some of the writing and the dialogue, and I think it's very clear. They came up with some great zingers in that movie, and it's so clever, but so raunchy at the same time that I've never seen anything like it. I love that movie.
And as soon as he said the category for raunchy comedy, I was like, I feel like you already have a movie in mind for this, and it's Bad Santa.
And I didn't have it in mind, but she's absolutely right. Yeah. It was Bad Santa.
Okay, I can see that. You watch that movie quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's never really been one of my favorites. I'll watch it if he's watching it, but it's never really, I don't know what sparked with me, I guess. So, but
oh well.
It's good. Okay, so my raunchy comedy, and I don't know that you've seen this one.
Oh.
It's Wet Hot American Summer.
I have not seen this one.
It is some of my favorite actors. Amy Poehler, Ken Marino.
Elizabeth Banks, is that?
She might be in it, but...
the Ant-Man guy?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm really bad with actors'
That's the one I was trying to figure out, but you did very good.
I don't know.
It's just this group of people that I
don't know.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, that was rude, but I was just kidding with you. It's just this group of people that I love, and they came all together, and they are counselors at a summer camp, and it's the last day of camp, and they're all clearly too old to be camp counselors, but they're acting like 18-year-olds, but they're all clearly 30s and 40s, and it's so funny. And I mean, there's just some kind of crazy stuff. I think this is one where somebody turns into a can of peas. Like, it's just nuts, crazy stuff. Okay. And one of the actors is actually, it's H. John Benjamin voices the can of peas.
Oh, okay.
So it's like
Archer.
Yeah, it's so many people, and it's a raunchy teen comedy, but it's people that are in their 30s and 40s.
It's people our age?
Yeah, and it's some of my favorite actors. So I really like this one.
I should check it out.
I think it's still on Netflix, but it's just one of those silly things. And then they did an episodic version where it's like 10 episodes of where they come back and have a reunion, and it's just as silly. So it's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, raunchy comedies. Yes. All right, the next category is comedic horror. Okay. Pretty niche. I
want to predict yours on this one.
Okay, wait,
but I just wanted to say that. Go for it.
I was when I first thought of the genre, I did have a kind of a movie in mind. Okay. And then as I looked into the genre, I was like, oh, there's not a whole lot here. Maybe this is cheating. But then I realized there's actually several in the genre that I like, oh, yeah, this is a very, very rich genre.
Okay.
So what did you predict?
I think you're going to do Housebound.
That is not true.
Okay.
That is not true. And
you can cut that if you want.
Okay. No, I actually considered that. I very much considered that. That was one that I don't want to spoil it.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Because that's a fantastic film.
Watch Housebound.
Watch Housebound. No. So the one that I chose was Shaun of the Dead.
Me too.
Okay.
I should have picked Housebound because I thought because it was the two and they were so close, and I thought you were going to do Housebound, so I did Shaun of the Dead.
Okay. So Shaun of the Dead. The reason I chose Shaun of the Dead, and I love Shaun of the Dead, but I think there are other films in that genre that I think have done for me just as much as Shaun of the Dead did, other than the fact that Shaun of the Dead started it for me.
Yeah, me too.
I'd never seen anything like that. I loved so to me when I watched it, it was overwhelmingly a comedy, and I should point out when I watched it, it was in like some independent theater in Indianapolis. I'd never heard of it. It was just happened to be a buddy of mine. We were bored on a Saturday and we didn't know what to do, so we went to see a movie, and this was the one we saw. Thought it was a comedy, straight up. And then afterwards, I'm finding out people were thinking it was more of a horror film, and I'm like, horror? I mean, yeah, there's zombies and stuff, but it wasn't ever. Nothing ever came across as suspenseful or scary. But then I looked back and realized the the effects, the physical effects of the zombies, the way that they behaved, it was all really in line with classic zombie genre films. And I'm like, wow, okay, I could see how this is a horror. And then I, with that in mind, rewatched it over the years with like, this is both. And it has been the de facto foundation for that genre for me.
And it was back when I didn't watch horror movies at all. I didn't like them. They scared the crap out of me. I couldn't sleep if I watched them, and then I watched Shaun of the Dead, and it was, to me, more of a comedy, and it was a way that I could kind of dip my toes in horror, and then I watched a few zombie movies after that. I think it kind of started me watching zombie movies.
So it was a gateway movie.
Yeah, it's a gateway. It's good. It's a good crossover. Yes, it was a gateway horror movie.
Culturally adjacent. Cool.
I feel like that's going to be the only crossover we have.
Among all films,
Probably.
that I wouldn't be surprised. I think we have fairly similar taste in films, but I think we definitely spike favor differently.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so the next one is a goofy comedy. This one for me was, I don't know. To me, they're the same movie in the sense that they're just Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Okay.
Flip a
Same
coin.
kind of comedy,
yeah, it's the same. To me, they basically were like, how can we take this character further?
Right.
I think if I had to choose, if you tied me down and made me choose, I would choose Dumb and Dumber.
Because of Jeff Daniels.
Because of Jeff. Yes. Exactly. You can't have Harry without Lloyd.
Yeah.
Fantastically stupid films. The sequel was much better than I would have expected.
Yeah, better than I expected.
I don't think it's as good as the original.
You're never going to top that, though.
Yeah.
You can't perfect perfection.
But I think if you walk into the sequel with the expectation that you're just in here to see what they've done, where they went with this, how these characters have evolved, I think you'll be satisfied.
Yeah.
It was quite clever. But there were so many iconic scenes from that film that have literally shaped my childhood. And I want to give a shout out, and I know he'll never see this, but I want to give a shout out to Jim Carrey in general. I actually thought about this several months ago, just kind of reflecting back on my life. I think I can confidently say there is not one person on the planet who has made me laugh more than that person.
Yeah.
Thinking back about things that, the things he did in the movie, watching the movies themselves, but just remembering like the craziness, the scene in Dumb and Dumber where he sees that Harry, he's Lloyd.
Lloyd Christmas?
Yes. Harry betrayed him with the girl that he's looking for, and he just...
Yeah, yes.
Like that type of, those moments that were I'd never seen anything like it. The Ace Ventura scene where he's, let's do that in instant replay. Yeah. And then he's going back, like things like that they're kind of tropes now. They were new. They never seen anything like that, and literally shaped my childhood of laughter. It's
kind of like non-slapstick slapstick. It's like smart slapstick.
Kind of, yeah.
Because I don't like slapstick, but I
either.
like Jim Carrey's portrayal of it in just a better way.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a fan of slapstick.
No, not at all.
And there's only like Jim Carrey. I think Jackie Chan does slapstick fairly well.
Because he does it it's just not stupid.
Exactly. Because I think it's intelligently done. I think it can be done intelligently, and I think you're right. That's probably, this is like slapstick 2.0. Never thought about it that way.
Yeah, slapstick 2.0.
There's a fair number of
Slapstick.
comedians and actors that can pull this off, in my opinion, but the vast majority,
it just ends up being stupid.
Yeah, to me, it's that awkward.
Yeah,
like
kind of uncomfortable.
Like, and not Ricky Gervais awkward. Not like this is intended to be awkward. It's the real awkward because that wasn't funny.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Oh yeah, and then, so you're goofy.
Is that are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to cut you off.
No. Okay.
My goofy comedy is one of my favorite genres, and it's against some of my favorite people.
Okay.
It is Best in Show.
That is a good one.
It is just so funny.
That almost to me feels like a mockumentary style.
It is.
Oh, okay.
And mockumentary is my favorite genre of all time in TV shows and movies. I love mockumentaries when they're done right. Parks and Recreation, one of my favorite things. Anything Christopher Guest does really is a mockumentary, and it's good. This is Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
He did Best in Show, For Your Consideration, stuff like that. It's just my favorite, but it has to be done correctly.
Yeah, I can see that. that is a genre that has grown on me because of you. I'd been introduced to a lot of them because of you, and I think it has introduced me to a lot of comedic tropes of different cultures around the world, like New Zealand. Those guys have some great mockumentaries and just great. There's like you can tell it's like the orca whales, right? They're all the same species, but different pockets throughout the different world have different language. They literally have different languages, and it's like I've seen this now that like those New Zealand group, the Flight of the Conchords and the Murray guy especially. That dude, genius. I don't know his name. I should know his name. What they have introduced me to is like, oh, this is a different language of comedy that I've never seen before, and I think mockumentary has opened the doors for a lot of independent filmmakers because it's easy to do.
Yes, you can do it low budget.
You can do exactly, and that's kind of the point. It's supposed to be kind of low budget. That's the whole point of it, and so it really has a low barrier to entry to get a lot of great people introducing their ideas to the world. I like that.
And it's Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara who, shit's great, guys, watch it. And there's a bunch of other people in there too, Parker Posey and Jennifer Coolidge. It's just a ton of people who just do this thing really well, and Jane Lynch is amazing in that movie. It's just one of my favorite comedies. Yeah, so I like those guys. The
best in show being the dog breeding.
Yes, it's a bunch of different people who are just normal people taking their dogs to which is basically the Westminster Kennel Club, whatever, but it's not called that. It's something else. And it's just their journey of taking them. And like the high-strung people have this high-strung Weimaraner, and the goofy people have this little terrier, and it's just a really great movie.
Yeah, it is a good one.
Yes,
I highly recommend it. I haven't seen it enough times that I could say how much I like it, but
I've seen it a lot, and I love it so much.
It is very good.
It's like when you're homesick from work and you're eating chicken noodle soup, put on Best in Show, and you won't regret it.
All right, cool.
Okay, so.
All right, the next one is.
I get really passionate about these.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she likes movies more than board games.
I just know more about them.
All right, so the next one's Parody films. Okay. So this is Parody, if you're not familiar, is a film that takes a specific. You can do genre, or you can do like a specific film or idea, and then you kind of flip it upside down and make a joke of it. Mm-hmm. So we actually had this discussion, like mockumentary. I wouldn't say is a parody, because mockumentary is like the style of filmmaking is kind of thrown on its head, whereas the parody is the topic itself is thrown on its head. And so for me, it's Hot Shots.
Yeah, of course it is.
And
Sphincter Pickle Blowfish.
Yeah, Sphincter Pickle Blowfish. Yeah, there's so many great one-liners out of that movie that I will continue. So if you're not familiar, it is essentially a parody of Top Gun. But they introduce, they even have dances with wolves at the beginning. They introduce a lot, and then it's very common too among parodies is to introduce kind of just random
little pieces of other things.
They're almost movie cameos, right? Like they're not an actor cameo; they're like a movie cameo. And this is one that hit with me really early, and I know a lot of people like the second one even more than the first one. I love the first one. The second one's fun too.
Yeah, but the first one is the best.
To me, it's just the best. There are so many. Just that whole one line, like the scene in the bar where she's singing on the piano, and then like she sings and she doesnn't have the mic, she's drinking and she's still singing, and then she like gets all excited and smacks that dude in the head, and it's just so random, timed so well, and nobody acts like it happened except the guy who got hit in the head. That type of shit.
He loses his
I will lose my mind. Like why is it's like reality pauses for just a moment as this absurdity happens. That's what I lose it, because everyone in the room would be like, oh my God, there would be a reaction. And when there's just no reaction to that type of behavior.
Especially the person who did it and they just keep on going.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Love that. So, and that movie is just rife with that type of shit. I just love that movie.
And that's another thing where it's kind of like Slapstick 2.0, because they do some weird stuff.
Yeah.
Like she does gymnastics on a tree limb while riding a horse.
Yeah.
Like just weird stuff like that, but it's really well done.
Yeah. Walking up the piano, so when you have a grand piano where the thing is elevated and she's walking up it as if it was just nothing, and that kind of random shit. Fantastic.
It is.
Love that one.
I like it too.
All right, what's yours?
Okay, my parody is Tropic Thunder.
Okay, I didn't know if I could put that as a parody.
It's a parody of like Apocalypse Now. And
yeah, it is, but it isn't, right? Like it's a film about making a film, and that's where I was like, okay.
So it's kind of a parody of those movies and filmmakers.
Yes.
So I thought it fit really well.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I'll give it to you because I am happy to talk about this film.
Okay, yeah.
Please elaborate. I give 10s to so few movies. This is a 10 for me.
Yeah.
This introduced such an intelligent approach at some really touchy and on the border of like socially very touchy stuff.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr.'s blackface.
But he's black whole body.
But and they did it with they did it in such a right way at such a right time culturally.
Yes.
Like I don't think they could make this.
Now.
Yeah, they could not make this film today. Even with the same respect that they gave at that time, it's just one of those zeitgeists that
too touchy now.
It is what it is at that time in history, and it will never have that opportunity again. And I think they captured and did things in there that we'll never be able to see elsewhere. That's, again, why I think it's so important. Why I rated it a 10 is how much it was able to do.
Yeah, and it was like the actor who was secretly gay, but he was trying to be overly masculine.
Yeah, like the toxic masculinity type of concepts. Yeah.
And I think Ben Stiller is a really good actor, but he chooses really good co-stars.
Yeah.
Because did he direct this?
He did.
Okay.
I agree.
He surrounds himself with really good people, and that kind of brings him to the forefront.
So can I try and explain I think I know where you're going with this, because I think we've talked about this before.
And I like Ben Stiller a lot.
I do too. I respect Ben Stiller a great deal. But it's, to me, if he's in a room by himself doing something, I think it's going to be A work. Fantastic. Mm-hmm. But you collaborate with him, and eventually you have super, like, A+ work. Yeah. There's something about him who knows how to put the pieces together. I don't think his character in that film is fine. He's funny as an actor. He's fine. But he's not a Jim Carrey. Let me say it that way. Like, all you need is him to make this thing just laugh all loud. He doesn't do that for me. But what he does is, in a very intelligent way, puts together the entire package, and everything that he does, everything that he puts his fingers into is gold. Like Dodgeball, that movie is gold. It's so intelligent, but so stupid, but so endearing, and there's like so many emotions that can go. And I think that is Ben Stiller at work. Yeah. When you get this intangibleness to the project, that's him.
And that's a great talent to have as well.
Yeah. That's a leader, right? Yeah. Like, that's something that not very many people possess.
Ben Stiller for president.
I don't know anything about his politics.
Me either. Tom Cruise.
Okay.
In this movie.
His best role
probably
in his career.
The best character on film.
Maybe, yeah. Like, he's up there. We should do it, Tom. Because I agree. Les Grossman, Tropic Thunder, Tom Cruise. I'll be honest, when I first saw it, we saw it in the theater, I didn't know it was him.
Tom Cruise.
I had no idea. Yeah. Like, and it's obvious now. It's one of those things, like, I feel kind of stupid saying it because it's obvious now. But I mean, the dude's
a lot of people
35, 40 pounds overweight, and Tom Cruise is obviously known for being very sleek and slender and all this kind of, and like the gross facial hair. Tom Cruise has never had a facial hair. Like, all these things put together, the big old hairy arms and stuff. He's just not. So I can see why I missed it, but I totally missed it. And then when I saw it, I was just like, this guy, Tom Cruise, he's a little strange.
He is, but he's a fantastic actor.
He's a fantastic actor. The guy knows how to do it.
No matter what, So, that was my parody. I think we could talk about this for a long time.
Les Grossman's character could be, in and of itself, the raunchy comedy.
Yeah.
Like that guy.
Step back and
literally fuck your own face.
So, okay. We could go on and on about this, but I think we should.
Yeah. Okay. And then finally, this one is the one that we tried to group them reasonably. This was not comedy related necessarily. Nice try. So we're calling it a nice try. This was a movie, and mine's not a comedy. Spoiler. This is a movie that you see what they were trying to do. You've never seen it done better or elsewhere, and you appreciate how good of a try. That was a good try, and I appreciate what you did for what you did. But the movie itself, maybe just not quite there.
Okay, what was yours?
All right, so mine was Interstellar.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, yeah.
So Interstellar is an interesting film where they tried to. I think what they tried to do was they tried to bring the concept of relativistic physics and some of the paradoxes that you get with time travel and that kind of stuff. They tried to bring that into a general audience place, like put it into a box that the general audience can consume.
Stick Matthew McConaughey on it.
And then of course just stick next to godliness on top of it. And I love that they tried to do it. So I'm a physics and math person. I love that kind of stuff. And what I feel like this one did, for those of you who haven't seen it, there's one where they're getting signals back from places that they're exploring, and one of the signals has shown up as, oh, this looks like this type of an environment. And they go there and they're like, this is nothing like that was described. And then they realize that basically the gravity of the planet is so dense that, or the mass is so dense that the gravity is warping the signal, and so it's essentially slow motion, and it's hard to describe, and the movie does a better job than I am now. But I'm like, what I know that they're trying to do, like they're trying to give you a glimpse into what would happen if, say, you were to get sucked into a black hole. The math and physics behind what happens is incredible, and to think about just the distance between your feet and your head if you're going into a black hole, and what those two like things would experience differently, the amount as time passes, the amount of force that you feel being pulled, all those things, just the distance in your, say, a 6 feet distance is like your toes would be 60 by the time your head is 10. Like it's amazing, and they tried to capture that, and they tried to give it to the general audience, and I appreciate that they did that. But they didn't do it right. Like, to get that much gravity on a planet, as soon as they got within the atmosphere, everything would just like crash to the ground, and they'd be all squished, and they would just die immediately. There's no way you would step out into a gravity planet like that and not just be like completely crushed, right? There's so much gravity for it to be able to affect the waves that way that nice try. Among many other things in the movie, like the whole, like, he's in the other dimension pushing her books out and stuff. Like, I love that they tried, and I really do appreciate the effort, and I do think they did a decent job of kind of wrapping some of that stuff down and putting it into a box. But unfortunately, this is the type of stuff that doesn't, by definition, it kind of doesn't fit in a box. It was so bizarre for humans at an instinctual level that I think this is one of the things we're going to struggle with forever.
Oh yeah, I do too.
So there's my soapbox.
You did a good job explaining that, and I have nothing to add because I didn't really like the movie, and I appreciated its visuals. Sure. Kind of like Gravity, I appreciated the visuals, but I'm not going to watch it again. It was really long too.
It is a little longer, yeah.
Okay.
But it's one of those, you can see what I mean.
Yes, I can.
I hope you guys can too.
Yes. And mine is a complete 180 from that. Okay. Because mine is a comedy. Mine is the movie Keanu.
Okay.
Because
that was a swing and a miss for me.
Yes.
And I could, okay.
I can see they had all the pieces. Mm-hmm. They had Key and Peele. It was their first feature movie. They had a little tiny kitten that doesn't age, and this hijinks that goes around it. Some people steal his kitten, and he goes after it. Kind of a take situation.
You have a premise that's gold.
Yes.
And the delivery was just horrible.
It was just not. I didn't think it was as bad as he did, but it was a miss because it just seems like they could have done some really good stuff with that. And I feel
I'm going to say, instead of nice try, that's called a missed opportunity.
Okay. I feel like Key and Peele maybe weren't big enough that they could do what they wanted, and maybe some people stepped in and were like, hey, do this.
You're right. I don't feel like that came from Key and Peele.
Right.
I feel like that was maybe a reference people might not get, but Rihanna, they got Rihanna onto that. So someone else came up with the Umbrella song, they needed a voice to put onto it. And I feel like that's what happened. Right. They had a movie, they were like, we really want, and we need somebody to put in here that can,
and these guys float this. Were just big enough that they could. It was time to do a feature, but it just wasn't the right one. Yeah,
it didn't. I think if it had been, I think they would be in a lot different position than they are now. Like, I think they're absolutely successful, obviously very talented. Yes. I mean, they're getting awards, making their films and stuff. Mm-hmm. Very, very, very talented guys. But I think the superstardom could have launched had that movie done well. Mm-hmm. And instead, it has either been delayed or, I don't want to say, I mean, they're obviously superstars. It's, to me, like the Flight of the Conchords guy. There's the guy who did the acting side, and he's kind of prolific actor, comedian. I'm really bad with
Jermaine Clement.
Jermaine. And then there's the other guy who didn't launch into superstardom that way, but he went off and did other things in the background and done arguably more.
Brett
McKenzie, more prolific and
he's won an Oscar.
Like his contributions to the culture are more than this one.
But Jermaine's face is out there more.
Yeah, and
Brett's
I think
more behind the
I
scenes.
think that's what happened here. Is had they springboarded with this the way that they wanted to or expected to, they would be the Jermaines. But now instead they're the Bretts.
Especially Jordan Peele. He's done a really fantastic movies.
Yeah.
Critically acclaimed.
Very, yeah.
And then Key is doing some comedic roles and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of similar.
Yeah, and I don't say, when I'm saying like the whole face and behind the scenes, not necessarily. It just, even though Key is out there doing more roles, he's not the face. Like he's still kind of roaming around just under the surface. Like if you went to my father and be like, hey, do you know who Key is? He'd be like, and you show him a picture and be like, oh yeah, right?
He's more of a character actor right now.
Whereas if they would have springboarded, everyone would know him, right? That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, I see it. Okay, that's it. That's 5.
All right, that's 5. Hopefully we didn't ramble too long. We'll find out during editing.
Yeah. I really like talking about movies, it turns out.
It is. It's kind of fun. So there's going to be more of these.
Yeah, there is. So thanks for taking a break from games in the game plan. And if you like these, there will be more. If not, just scroll past them.
Yeah.
Because we're still going to do them because we have fun.
They're fun.
Okay.
See you guys.
Bye.